Welcome to Mythbusting Monday, where we're tackling industry misconceptions head on and shining a light on the truth about logistics. It's a fast-paced, often misunderstood sector, and it's much more than moving boxes from A to B, which is what we're going to hear about today. Joining us are two logistics professionals, Sam and Ryan, who are here to debunk the common myths about working in logistics and show why it's one of the most dynamic and rewarding career fields there are. From high-tech innovation, problem solving on a global scale, they're going to tell us all about what goes on behind the scenes at Martin Brower and why you might want to consider a career in logistics yourself. So let's separate fact from fiction and get moving. Sam, can I ask you to tell us a little bit about you, your day job?
Of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam, or Samuel Davidson. I'm a supply chain services analyst at Martin Brower, and my day-to-day role involves a combination of reporting future forecasting for our expected case volumes in the near to long-term future, and helping support and maintain some of our central file structures, which are vital to our continued operations. Originally, I wanted to go purely into mathematics at university, but when I did my foundation degree, I had a small course on logistics, and I thought its application of maths to reality was, quite fascinating. And here I am, several years later, still enjoying myself. And I ended up joining this company post my completion of my undergraduate degree through the Novus scheme with Bethany as well. And yeah, I just, in terms of what I enjoy most and what I get out of it a lot, is it's sort of the work on a day-to-day basis has the same themes, but there's always something new that you need to deal with, some new challenge, some new process that you need to understand, you need to be able to support and able to, in this case, keep the lights running and keeps trucks moving. There's a lot of the underlying support.
Absolutely. And before we head to Ryan, I'm going to just pick up on two things that you've mentioned there. Forecasting, how many chips a well-known fast food place might need across the week, the month, the year, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Lovely. And picking up on the Nova scheme, a program for graduates that supports placements, mentoring, internships at various different universities. Be very remiss of me not to mention that to our young people. Thank you very much.
No
Over
problem.
to Ryan. Tell us a little bit about you and your day job.
Hello, I'm Ryan. I am a business analyst for the applications department in IT. My day-to-day role involves managing the warehouse management systems and also assisting on various projects around the business. My role is very varied. I speak to people from all around the world. Also assist in disaster recovery, so no day is the same. I first started at Martin Brower as a warehouse operative. Then I moved up to a chamber lead, which is a charge hand, where I'm responsible for one section of a warehouse. I kept my head down, worked hard, and I was promoted to a warehouse coordinator. So I assume responsibility for training, has some health and safety duties and various other tasks. And then I see an opportunity as a business analyst. I took it, and that's where I am today. I chose a career in logistics as it's quite an easy entry level. It's quite easy to get into. It pays very well as well. And surprisingly enough, there is a lot of opportunities available for those that are both educated or those that are not as educated. What I enjoy the most about logistics is there's the variety. No day is different. There's always opportunities around the door. You never know where you're going to be in the business in the next couple of years. The only way is up.
Amazing. And busting one of the biggest myths there, I think, that you have to have the graduate route, which obviously Sam did choose to go down. But Ryan, you came in at a direct entry and worked your way up. So definitely a myth to bust there. How easy did you find that? What top tips have you got for sort of encouraging people to progress from that entry level to do the kind of job that you do now?
Well, if you show initiative, you work hard, you keep your head down, you do what you can to solve problems, get along with other people, you will get noticed. You can progress relatively easy if you're in the right place. Also, another thing to bear in mind as well, it's one common myth is that the logistics is male dominated. I've also seen a lot of women move up the ranks as well from warehouse. That's not just here, but in other companies as well. Used to work for GXO, that was the same. Yeah, if you keep your head down, work hard, the only way's up.
Absolutely, that is great advice. I think we are a sector that prides itself on that experience. So getting stuck in, learning about the business, hugely important. And a second myth where we are flying through these myths, a second myth there about women working in logistics. And we are going to go to a short video clip of some ladies who are fantastic ambassadors for our sector, talking about working in a male-dominated world.
Has the term man's world or the male-dominated industry ever concerned you when applying into these roles? Lizzie, can I ask you?
I can't say that actually it is something that's ever really concerned me about doing a career. I think I was really focused on doing something that I knew I would enjoy and that I would get a lot of satisfaction out of. And I knew that a career in logistics would be something that would work for me. And so whether that's perceived to be a man's world or not, honestly doesn't really worry me.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that you've gone after what you're passionate about, regardless of any perception there. Hassan, I can see you shaking your head. You obviously agree in
I
this.
absolutely agree with that, because when I walked into a job, I didn't look at, oh, it's a man's world or anything. It's just the automation, whatever is in the warehouse that's going on. It just interested me. And I think any person can, so long as you've got that interest there, you will just do that job without even thinking it's a man or a woman doing that job.
I love that.
Love it.
And obviously to those at home would say that follow your interest. It's not to do with gender. I love that. So there is a perception out there that logistics in general can be male orientated. Why do you think that the logistics sector has this historical sense of being male dominated? Can I start with you, Georgia?
So I think in the past, historically, operationally in logistics, there was it was very male dominated. But I feel like over the years, it's actually switched. So on the site I work at, we've actually got more women than men on site, which is
fabulous.
Really good.
Yeah, fantastic. And Hosanna, same question to you.
Right. So I think there is that perception, because I mean, I've been with this industry for about 20 years. And if I look back when I started, yes, it's kind of the perception that you're picking boxes out of a warehouse, and it's a hard working labourer's job. So I think that's where the perception probably came through. But I don't see it like that nowadays. I think so long as you've seen the warehouse, you've had a bit of a feel for it, I think there's a lot of women out there who'd be interested in doing things like that. And I certainly see that in our warehouse nowadays, because we've got women actually starting at the lower role, leading up, coming up to management and leadership roles. And I've seen that over the 20 years, the change from what it used to be and what it is now. So I don't foresee that as a men's world anymore.
Okay, let's get back to busting some more myths. Sam, I'm going to come to you. Logistics will never be green. We are a sector with lots of perceived to be dirty trucks, making, again, perceived to be a lot of waste. Talk to me about whether that's true or not.
So, as you say, it is a very common conception that it's a dirty industry. There are a lot of challenges, given that within our sector there is the requirement to move goods, to be able to operate for certain industries, especially ourselves, cold chains and such and so forth, to keep the flow of goods working. But I am happy to say that there are massive strides within the industry to move towards more efficient cooling systems. For example, some of our freezers, we're continually having them replaced and upgraded to have more efficient, more modern cooling and overall refrigeration systems. Our own trucks work on biodiesel from reclaimed cooking oil to both reduce the overall emissions of the company, as well as to continue to recycle some of the products that may otherwise be unrecoverable in any usable format. There are experiments with trucks with the actual carriers with solar panels on the roof and regenerative braking, so that on those longer journeys up and down the country, should you see the sun once or twice a minute, we'll be able to reclaim some of that energy and again the reduce the overall emissions and energy expenditure. And you've got to think the same curse that makes it appear to be dirty, the continued usage of vehicles up and down the country, also means there's an incredible incentive for logistics companies and logistics providers to make those incremental gains, which we have seen over the last several decades and should be seeing well into the future.
Absolutely. It is definitely the competitive advantage in logistics, I think, isn't it? You can really impact a business's bottom line. And to the young people watching, this is a sector, as Sam said, that constantly changes. So you can come in and be a tangible part of making that change, whether that's the change to net zero, whether that's the new innovation and technology. And we'll hear more about tech on Tuesday and sustainability as part of Worldwide Wednesday. So more to come on both of those angles. But exceptionally interesting to hear there some of the sort of transport initiatives that are going on, solar panels on the back of cabs, for example. We're going to bust another transport myth. Working in transport means being a driver. How true is that, Sam?
It's not true at all. I can completely understand why. I mean, if you're out and about, you will see some of our vehicles, and they'll be the most obvious example of our department. But underlying that, there's a whole network of support structures and other careers that go into making sure our trucks can safely go on the road. Again, going back to my own company, we have an entire maintenance department. We have legal compliance to ensure that both the drivers are working safe hours and that our vehicles are continually maintained and kept up to date. We have a full training department in order to keep our drivers on the cutting edge of that training. We're going into transport, we have scheduling to make sure that we're making the most efficient routes. There's a whole bevy of underlying of support, planning the routes, planning drivers, maintaining that overall structure and schedule, making sure our trucks can even successfully go on the road without any breakdowns, or if a breakdown does occur, what's our next step, and as well as interacting with other departments within the operation. Again, I could completely understand if all you see are trucks, all you're going to think is trucks, but there's a multitude of different responsibilities, job roles, and opportunities, sort of a step behind that, which are absolutely necessary, even if you don't necessarily see them while walking about in your day-to-day.
Absolutely. Logistics is a bit of a hidden sector, and that is why we are here as part of Generation Logistics Week. So before we say our goodbyes, gentlemen, I would like to ask you what it is that drew you to logistics and what do you enjoy the most? Ryan, can we start with you?
Well, what drew me to logistics was that it's easy to get into logistics and it pays very well as well. So it's always a good starting point to a career. What I enjoy most about logistics is not every 2 days the same, but also the people you work with make the job as well, so make it fun.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Thank you. Sam?
I think for myself, I can echo certainly a number of points Ryan has said about the team cohesion, but I think for myself, what drew me and what keeps me in is just the variability and the fact that you can see every time, for example, for ourselves, we go into some of the stores which our company supports and say, I help put that in my hands. I help make a difference. You can really see, I'm helping to support and helping to keep things flowing, it's always nice to be able to see within your own hands things that you've been working towards.
A huge thank you to Sam and to Ryan for joining us today and sharing your insights into the world of logistics. We've broken down some outdated stereotypes, we've highlighted some innovation, and most importantly, we've talked about that career potential in the sector. So hopefully they've given you lots to think about out there. So we do hope that today's session helped shift your perspective on logistics and perhaps even sparked an interest in exploring further. We'll see you later in the week for more Generation Logistics Week content. And thank you again, chat.